Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're diving into a fascinating topic about the spaces we interact with every single day, but honestly, rarely even think about until we actually have to. We're going to explore the science of supportive living spaces specifically tailored for the elderly and how good design is, ultimately, all about preserving human dignity. Okay, let's dive right into this. I want you to anchor yourself in a little empathy for a moment. Just picture a task you probably did this morning without a second thought. Washing your face, brushing your teeth, maybe trimming your nails. Now imagine attempting that exact same task, but your joints are stiff, your hands tremble just a bit, and your vision is compromised. Suddenly, your bathroom isn't just a room anymore, it's a literal obstacle course. So the big question we're answering today is, how exactly do we design an environment that helps, rather than hinders, our aging loved ones? So here's our blueprint for today. We're going to look at the physical realities of aging, lighting the grooming space, accessible sink design, ergonomic hand care tools, and wrap up with empowering independent living. Let's start with Section 1, Physical Realities of Aging. As we get older, the way we physically interact with our surroundings fundamentally changes. Hand grip strength fades, tremors can start to appear, and joint stiffness makes reaching and bending really painful. Now, combine all of that with a decline in visual acuity, things like cataracts blurring your vision, and suddenly, everyday tasks that require a bit of brute strength or crystal clear vision become immense hurdles. A standard bathroom is simply not built for a person experiencing these kinds of physiological realities. Moving right along to Section 2, Lighting the Grooming Space. So the absolutely crucial point here is this number, 300 to 500. We're talking about lux, the measurement of illumination required in these critical grooming areas. And you might be wondering, why is that so high? Well, because age-related vision changes, especially cataracts, cause serious drops in visual quality. A brightly lit space directly compensates for that declining visual acuity, making sure an elderly person can actually see the grooming tools in their own hands clearly. But hey, it's not just about blasting a room with stadium lights, right? It's about the right kind of light. We've all been blinded by a harsh bathroom bulb first thing in the morning. Now imagine dealing with that while trying to navigate through cataracts. You really have to prevent glare because it can be highly disorienting and even dangerous. And let's talk about the switches for a second. They need to contrast sharply with the wall color so they stand out. Plus, they should sit exactly 90 to 110 centimeters high. Why? Because that specific height allows for easy, twist-free access the second you enter the room, totally accommodating anyone with restricted mobility or joint pain. All right, on to Section 3, Accessible Sink Design. Now, true accessibility means you need expansive maneuvering areas. Think about it. A standard bathroom layout just assumes the user is standing up. But a truly ergonomic layout has to accommodate seated care, whether someone needs a chair because standing is just too exhausting, or they're maneuvering a wheelchair. To pull that off, you need at least 150 centimeter diameter of clear, empty space just to turn around safely. Which brings us to another magic number for today, 70 to 75. That's 70 to 75 centimeters, and it is the precise vertical knee clearance you absolutely must have under a sink. This isn't just a casual design suggestion, it's the exact mathematical space needed to let an elderly individual comfortably pull right up to the sink and sit while grooming. Let's break down the actual mechanics of adapting that sink for seated care. First, like we just said, you need that 70 to 75 centimeters of vertical knee clearance, plus a depth of at least 20.5 centimeters underneath so knees aren't constantly bumping into the wall. Second, the very front upper edge of the sink shouldn't be any higher than 86 centimeters from the floor. Any higher than that, and a seated person has to awkwardly reach up, which puts a ton of strain on their shoulders and back. Third, consider the mirror. A flat mirror glued to the wall is pretty much useless if you're sitting down. You've got to tilt it 10 to 15 degrees forward or just use one of those adjustable height mirrors. Finally, you have to install easy-to-grip support bars at exactly 110 centimeters high on both sides of the sink. That gives someone crucial stability if they feel a little dizzy or weak while standing up from their chair. These precise measurements, they are literally the keys to unlocking independent living. Moving into the micro details, Section 4, Ergonomic Hand Care Tools. Now, what's really interesting here is the physiological problem with standard tools like everyday nail clippers or medicine bottles. They usually require what we call complex dual movements. That means having to push down and turn simultaneously. Now, if you're dealing with joint stiffness, arthritis, or hand tremors, a dual movement isn't just frustrating, it's practically impossible. Ergonomic tools fix this by utilizing a single motion action. They're designed to be thick, incredibly easy to grip, require barely any physical force, and they are completely free of any sharp, hook-like protruding parts that could cause an accidental scrape or injury. So, when you're looking to select or recommend care tools for the elderly, the research highlights a few golden rules. Number 1, completely avoid anything requiring simultaneous pushing and turning. Get rid of sharp or protruding edges. If a tool has attachments, swapping them out shouldn't require extreme coordination or a lot of force. Every tool should naturally support simple gripping, squeezing, and pulling without causing hand strain. It's really all about designing for the human hand exactly as it is today, not as it used to be 20 years ago. Simply swapping out standard tools for ergonomic ones goes a massive way toward preserving dignity and personal care. And finally, Section 5, Empowering Independent Living. There's this incredibly powerful quote from the source material that really just hit the nail on the head for me. It says, "In fact, it is not old age, but a home not designed for the elderly that reduces their ability to live independently." I mean, let that sink in for a second. It completely flips the script. We so often view aging as this inevitable loss of independence, but the research is telling us that the physical environment is usually the true barrier. When we upgrade to 300 to 500 lux lighting, when we carve out 75 centimeters of knee clearance at the sink, and when we provide single-motion ergonomic nail care tools, we aren't just making small tweaks. We are systematically tearing down barriers. We're designing for dignity. So I want to leave you with this final thought experiment. If you go look around your own bathroom right now, today, is it a space that will actively support your independence as you age, or is it a space that will eventually take it away? The design choices we make today absolutely dictate the quality of life we have tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I hope you take these measurements, take these ergonomic principles, and start looking at the living spaces around you through a completely new lens.